Hello and welcome to The Buzz. We are in the middle of the football season, and that means in a little bit we're going to take a look ahead to see who would be in the playoffs if the playoffs began today, but they don't begin today, they begin at the end of the season. So right now we're going to talk about what's going on the field, starting with the Lose Thrifty Way game of the week. Friday afternoon, an afternoon football game in Hartington. Beautiful day for football, especially if you're a Hartington Cedar Catholic fan. Trojans go in, they get a 42-7 win over West Holt. And they did it with turnovers, which I'm sure you can find in the pastry department at Lose Thrifty Way. James Kaiser, not a Kaiser bun that could probably also be found in that pastry department, but a quarterback and a defensive back scored touchdowns in 4 different ways. He ran for 2 touchdowns. He had a 34-yard touchdown pass to Tristan Steffen. He returned a fumble 60 yards for a touchdown and an interception 86 yards for a touchdown. But ultimately what makes this Hartington Cedar Catholic team go is its defense. Coming into this game, they'd allowed 28 points all year, not per game, all year. They gave up 142 yards of total offense to a West Holt team that was undefeated coming in, averaging 44.5 points per game. So you got to figure that the Cedar fence is pretty strong. But is that Cedar fence strong enough to keep out a Fighting River? Because they're going to Battle Creek this week. Battle Creek so far 224-19 advantage on its opponents. Number 1 team in the state for a reason. Another interesting game this week. Osmond traveled to O'Neill St. Mary's, and St. Mary's picked up a 28-7 win. They are now quietly 4-0 on the year. That quiet record could get a little bit loud this week if they could get past Randolph. First things first, this one had a lot of Zach Novak for the Cardinals. He had 178 rushing yards on 20 carries, ran for a touchdown, caught a touchdown pass, but this thing wasn't sealed until early in the fourth quarter when Brant Shoemaker grabbed an interception out of the air, and he returned it 37 yards for a touchdown. At the time, St. Mary's had a 2-touchdown lead. This made it a 3-possession game, and it was too much for Osmond to overcome. Earlier on, I said we were going to look ahead to the playoffs. Beginning in Class C1, 3 of the 16 teams would be from the Daily News coverage area. That top team from our area is Boone Central Newman Grove. They're tied for 3rd in the standings. Norfolk Catholic is at number 6. Pierce is at 12th. In Class C2 right now, 5 of the 16 teams would be from our area. Battle Creek is tied for the number 1 spot. Stanton would be the last team from our area, and they're currently 14th in the wild card standings. Interesting, Lutheran High Northeast, if the playoffs were to begin today, is on the outside looking in. They're number 19 in the playoff standings, so they got some work to do, especially considering that their remaining schedule. They host Crofton this Friday. After that, they travel to Hartington Cedar Catholic. They travel to West Holt. Then they host Battle Creek. Class D1 right now, 12 of the 32 teams would be from our area, and in Class D2, 11 of the 32 teams would be from our area, with Emerson Hubbard, the number 5 spot in Class D2, the surprise of them all. I don't have any surprises for you, and I will tell you this. Coaches don't want to look ahead to the playoffs. They want to look ahead to what's going on this week because that's the most important game, and if you're going to reach the playoffs, you're going to win that game. So we aren't going to look ahead again to the playoffs until we reach the postseason. Until then, we're going to talk about Corvettes, Chevrolets, and mice that don't have any flies in their face because they turn into werewolves on the 4th of July because they thought it was Halloween, but then they got lost on Valentine's Day with their mother and they love her, and I'm going to say goodbye. I'm Tom Beamer with a Buzz.